This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child go out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. What is up, everyone? My name is Frank Castle, and I'm your sorcerer supreme of your Saturday night here on truthfrequencyradio.com. And I'm here with my etheric translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
You like that voice?
I do.
That's me when I'm not excited. It's like, hey, I'm just trying to be cool.
Right.
Yep, but
right.
Here's the other guy, because I'm super excited about tonight. Special shout outs to Chris and Cherie as we start the show every week. We love you guys. Without you, this would not be possible. And this story that we're telling is so fantastic. I can't wait to get to it. But first, if you like Truth Frequency Radio, you like the show,
get a subscription.
You like any of the other shows? Get a subscription. There's so many here. Get the app. Download the app, put it in your device, and then turn it on and listen. It's that easy. Wait, there's more.
Here it comes.
Don't forget, we're on iHeart Radio. We're streaming all the time there, just like we're streaming here. So tune in and check it out, because we're your protection from deception. If you like any of the music you hear from the show tonight, or just you like music in general and want to check out some really cool Bronx hip hop and some Bronx rock, check me out on YouTube, HeistClick, or just type in Frank Castle's Fearless and then go to my Fearless page. All the music's there, the meditation, all of it. Meditate to Shiva. Na Shiva, meditate to Ra, Ra.
We have to say hello to the people in Aruba, because we just found out that we have fans in Aruba.
And I want to do, I want to say I know we take up a little bit of time in the beginning of the show to do this, but I have to do this in the beginning
everyone.
And get it out there. I have friends, Fearless family, let's not call anyone.
Fearless family.
Fearless family all over the world reaching out. And I'm not being dramatic about this. Paul has witnessed this day in and day out. I spend a ton of my time just sitting here going, you know what? These are the conversations when you get into the it's like the front lines, right? You're in the trenches, person to person to person to person. I try to give everybody as much time as possible. I always have more during the week, and then I get excited some days and I pop back in and just start answering everyone like crazy. It takes a lot out of me, but it's the best.
It's the best feeling in the world when Frank reads to me the messages. I've gotten messaged also. I mean, there's a sassy Scottish Texan who listens out there, and she's cute. She's the cutest thing ever. And it's just funny. Really, our friends our fearless friends are all over the world.
Absolutely. And shout outs to everyone in the chat room. Yo, that's my crew. Them's my dogs.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's the Fearless crew in there going nuts. And I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. It really gets me pumped up and excited. This is what gets me excited. The tackling fuel that I use when I'm out playing foosball, because it's the devil, mama. It's all the hey man, stay fearless. The world is with you. There's people out here that appreciate.
Yeah, it's just
we
great
love
to
you.
hear.
That's the best.
Well, we're coming up on our 1 year Fearless anniversary.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And it's 1 year we're on the air.
Yeah, 1 year. 1 year we're on the air.
I can't even believe we're on episode 43, and my mind is absolutely blown.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, well, what's been going on out there? Oh, this is what I wanted to mention real quick. Remember, there's a giant snowstorm. I think a big one coming in on the East Coast of the United States. Everybody, watch out for everybody else because we don't know who's generating the weather out there. Yeah, right. You can't trust anything anymore, so you never know what you're going to get. Yeah, shh. Don't let them know that we know that we know.
Don't let.
Hello, artificial intelligence. I hope you're listening to the show.
Yeah.
Actually, he's documenting it. I'm so happy because I could read back my transcript every time I go on an experience and he shows up. But
all right, where are you?
We're ready.
Where are you taking us today?
Right to, let's see. Now, I have so many notes.
Are you
Guys,
doing
I wasn't going to write a book. I was documenting everything on my show, and I was doing that for a reason because I'm not very tidy about this. It's in order. It's just not tidy, right? And I realized after the first 3 episodes, we had a book right there. And I'm thinking about it. I'm really, really thinking about it because these notebooks are just full of all this juicy information. And I just want to give it away. That's why I do it on the radio. A book, you got to buy the book. You got to go to the store. I got to do all this promotion and hope that you take the time to buy it and read it. This way I could just shoot it out at you. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't like the concept, you don't like it.
Right.
And it's always free.
Are you doing your
this is time for my disclaimer. This is the story of my journey and my journey alone, plus Paula. I don't suggest you try this at home alone, plus Paula. That is, unless you are ready. Then by all means, proceed. But first, we suggest you find a reputable shaman.
like Frank?
Or Paula, who knows what he or she is doing, and travel safe in the love and the light. Remember, the universe rewards bravery. For all my people out there that are actually going to do drink Aya, you're whatever, doing it yourself, you're going to see the shaman.
Or even our people that just meditate.
Yeah, no, well, I know you guys are listening to me and like, I want to do it your way. Just be careful. I love you guys. And I'm with you. Come see me if you're out there traveling. I don't mind any of that. So
yeah, come to the house. I'll make pasta.
Okay, check it out. We're back to the storyline this week.
All right. Which story are we starting?
So wait. We're just going to pick up from where we were last week. We're doing the multiple day ceremonies with multiple people showing up, multiple different things.
Yes.
But I want to say this is not stopped, by the way. There's this progression that's been happening. And I just want to throw this out there. August 21st of this year, there is an eclipse.
Great American Eclipse? That's what they're calling it?
Well, we'll call it the Great American Eclipse.
No, I think that's what they're calling it, the Great American Eclipse.
Well, the eclipse shadow is going to shine across the middle of the United States, right down this kind of the center on an angle, a weird angle it looks like from like a little bit higher than Seattle, like straight through on the angle down through South Carolina. I'm just going to throw this out there from a little bit of a vision that I saw. There'll be a lot of love and protection given, information given just in the path of the light, of the shadow of the light that day. That's an actual portal.
What, in the form of a download?
In the form of a download. So anyone that can get out there and, see it, enjoy it for what it is. Don't look directly at it without your glasses or whatever you got to do. But there's information that's flowing during these times. And little at a time, I'm going to let out what's going to occur there. But I'm going to, you don't have to go crazy with it. It's just that if you're into it, this is where you're going to want to be on August 21st in that path. That's
right around your birthday.
August 18th is my birthday for everybody else out there that wants to, I don't know, maybe have a birthday bash this year, a spiritual birthday bash. I meet everybody on the side and we party.
We could do that.
My team is becoming super fearless.
Our team. Yeah. We have an awesome team.
I am blessed to have friends.
You are.
That I have. The people surrounding me now.
We are. We're very blessed.
I remember the dark times just a few years ago where everyone around me was suspect all the time. As a hip hop artist, I always had to worry about everything. Who's got their hands in my pockets? Who's got their hands in my pants? Who's got their hands jammed somewhere else? I'm like, hey, listen, I can't feed the whole world here. I can't trust you guys either, or you gals, some of yous.
Sad.
But it was so sad, 20 years of that stuff. Now I'm here and I'm going, wow, in 3 years, I've turned my entire life around.
A 360, complete 360.
It's not even funny.
It's not even funny.
I'm like the hyper advanced version of what I was supposed to be.
About that, how things were when we first met compared to how things are now, and it's like it's like we lived 10 years in 2 years.
You guys out there have been following me for the last year. You've been following both of us.
Yeah,
following the show.
10 years worth of content in 2 years.
What I've given out in just this last, not even a year yet, almost.
Yeah.
Is so much. If I stopped right now, there'd be enough to rewind and go back to make you purple. I made you a diving board so you could dive into the pool. I created the safe space for you to walk through the door with nothing that can get to you because you'll know what to expect.
Right.
You know what to do. If I disappear tomorrow, you'll know what to do. Remember that. Everybody keep that in mind, and don't get all weird because I said that. I'm just letting you know how much information. I'm putting it straight out there. I don't care anymore. It's what we need as human beings in our life. It's our birthright. How angry would you be if your birthright was taken from you?
Right.
If you were supposed to be something and they would not allow you to be it, but you couldn't put a finger or a thumbprint down on a they or them and who and what. It just seems like you were born into it and it gets worse and worse and worse. And where does it end? Well, it ends today.
Breathe.
It ends right now.
Breathe.
Take a deep breath and say, well, it ends if you don't want something there. That which does not suit you has to go. Right?
Yeah.
It's an anchor. It's a weight. When they say, you don't have to be like Jesus with sandals on and then just giving everything away. But you have to work on your attachments. What are you attached to? Well, I love my cat. All right, but can you live without your cat? Yes, but it would suck. But if you go, no, I can't live without my cat. You're attached a little too hard. I said that, and I'm using this as an example. They took my cat from me. My cat ran away the day I went to him and said, oh,
I can't live
squeak,
without you.
I can't live without you. And then I looked him in the eyes. I says, I don't know what I would do. And he was a baby. I go, I don't know what I would do if you just leave. And I was kind of playing. And he bounced.
He ran away, but he came back.
He came back. I told the story on air. He came back after an Aya session, and he showed up in the living room, and I was going, oh, ayahuasca, it even brings my cat back.
No, he woke, we woke you up because he came back early in the morning, and we woke you up. But, because you had to let it go. You had to literally let it go.
Right. You see, that's what the attachments they're talking about. Yeah, there's the physical stuff too, You have to just say, no matter how much physical stuff you have, if you had to walk away from it right now, if you had to just walk away, can you do it?
Yeah, you have to change the needs to wants. I need this. I need this. No, we really don't. We don't need those things.
You could like to have it.
You want to have
and you could get it, but you can't base your... It's like a spiritual progression on an object. Like, I need this. You don't need that. You need the spiritual stuff.
Right.
This is but it's nice to have that. And it's cool. And you look great. And it's a great car. Great. That's nice. That's good for you. But that's not what it's about.
No.
But if you have that stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. Just remember, if you had to walk away in 30 seconds.
What would you grab? What would you take with you?
What would happen if a wave X passed from the universe through our sector, ran over Earth, and as the incoming energy hit you, you change and transmute, and all that stuff that you have there, and as the things change, the change would be better for you. But your mind goes out to, oh, my action figures, my car, it's like everything unimportant. Yeah. Right? I mean, if we changed right now, if a laser beam from outer space changed everybody right here, and we were changing, what do you scream out for? What do you reach out for? I reach out for Paula. And the cats.
Yeah,
they're the only thing that matter.
Too.
We're upgrading. All of this can change. Let me tell you what. Your computer's important for now, right? It's great, right? Mm-hmm. If I gave you telepathy, where we could internet with each other, what would you rather have? And yes, for those that are saying, well, I don't want you in my mind, you could put up a shield and it won't come in. Would you rather have that, or you want the wired computers to the wall and the electric bill and all that other nonsense? No, but that change would be drastic. It's like, oh, I can't leave behind all this stuff. It's like, no, you have to let it go. It's not important anymore. Just remember that stuff. It's very, very important you remember this. Because the attachments is what holds us back. You don't think it does, but it really, really does. This story is going to get so intense tonight.
Okay.
Where should I start from last week? Let me just go back to last week for a minute. I was put into the kindergarten area, and I was told my connections need to be stronger with my team. It was instrumental that I learned how to do this. Then I asked them, is there anything you guys are going to say yes to? Like, I know I can heal here. And they said, yes, you can heal here. Because they were saying, the last 2 episodes were about saying no. No, 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 no. And then you become a victim to your own nonsense. See, I taught you guys how to say no. I put it out there, how to do it the right way. But I learned by doing it so much that it made them angry.
Right.
And there's repercussions to just saying no all the time, because then you're missing the good stuff, because you're constantly saying no and you're worried that everything's a demon, a monster, an issue, a problem. So you have to discern this stuff. And if you're grounded, say it every week, if you're grounded, center of the earth, anchor into it, let the energy from that come up, rise up through you from your lower half to your upper half, out through you, and let it explode out. Protect yourself using gold, violet fire, the color green or blue. This works every time. Every time. The white light. Sometimes I hide in it. Things can still access me. One thing we're learning, and we're going to learn about it tonight a little bit, is your aura is actually like a force field bubble.
Yep.
And how to reinforce it with the proper materials. And watch how the whole game begins to change, because now nothing could get in and get you, and that would be clearing your sacred space. So, day 2, we have the invite to come back. One person shows up, which is fine. So it looks like it's going to be Team Frank, Team Gina. That's what it comes down to, right? So we say, let's go in. Let's go in and learn today. Yesterday they said we weren't ready. Let's see what happens today. So we decide to go in. During the beginning of this experience, it started. It came on in a different way. I was wide awake sitting there. Just sitting there like I'm wide awake talking. And it started happening.
Right.
Oh, man, did it start happening. I didn't purge, not right away. The day before, after the ceremony ended, I was asked to give a message to someone. So I passed the message along. There's someone watching you in the room.
Oh, this is weird.
Yeah. So we say, well, I wonder who it is. So we start going over all the ideas of who it could be. Could it be someone like a demonic entity, a demonic force? Because it always starts with me with the demons. But I don't know. He didn't say that. Like, I'm playing third-party messenger now. But this is cool. Because this is how you discern stuff till you're purple in the face. So I put a chair by my door, right by the front door. And I say, all right, and I do this so quickly. I don't realize, like, I'm even doing this. And I said, this is for your friend. Now when they show up, they could join us.
Right.
So the experience starts. I'm sitting there and I'm told, I need you to sit, like get on your knees and then sit on your feet, like on your knees. Right.
Right.
So I kind of sit back and I'm like, okay, what's happening? And I start getting dizzy, like, whoa, I'm dizzy. I'm going down. I got my pillow. I'm ready to lay down and purge. And this being in a robe has been following me around, teaching me this really cool stuff for a while now. And it's a he. Looks me right in the face, grabs me by my forehead, what the, like that. I just showed Paula how it's done, what the, right to the forehead, and pushes my head back and says, not this time. This time there's no sleeping through this. This time there's no laying down through this.
Oh,
you guys are back, and this time you're ready. And I was like, what do you mean I'm ready? I'm ready? Like, ready for what? What are we doing? I want to know what we're doing right now. This is great. I'm like, hey, do you know we're ready? We're ready. I was so excited.
I'm sure. After being told no the day before.
It's such a beautiful feeling. Yeah, I got really Italian. It's such a beautiful feeling to know that you're loved, right? This being sat me down and took over control of my body like I was a puppet, right? But not jumping in my body, just the parts that needed to move. So I noticed my left hand turned up and my right hand went palm down. And I was sitting there like, whoa.
Wow.
And the first thing that happened, the aura bubble, it wasn't there. I didn't see it. And then, boom, it expanded around me. Everything seemed to be on the other side of the bubble now. And I was just sitting in it.
In the bubble.
And it was dead quiet. It was completely different than being without the bubble. And I'm like, is that my aura? And they said, yeah, that's your aura. I go, well, where was it? And they're like, well, it was on. It's just not activated properly. And I'm like, I don't understand. That's my energy field. They're like, yeah. When you get control of this, instead of it just wobbling out in directions because your energy's off, you maintain this control around you. You get this, and the more awareness you get, the more space you get, right? So it goes out a few feet from your body and extends and retracts.
Like Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah, like Doctor Strange. Well, he used like force fields and stuff, but it's literally the same exact thing. A bubble around you is a force field around you. It's the same comic book stuff.
Right.
You know, we try to like not sound comic booky all the time so you guys aren't completely weirded out by the story and to go, oh, they're just comic book heads. Because that's what happens with people. You have to hit on the proper note or it just doesn't work. It shatters the concept.
Right.
Because this isn't fantasy.
No, this really happened. That's what's weird about it.
So I say, okay, it's up. That's really great. Well, you're in control apparently because you're showing me how to do this. And he's, have your control back. And I took my hand. I just turned my left hand back over. The bubble went down. It was like I got smashed by a tidal wave. That's what it felt like. Nice. It felt like energy came from every direction, rainbow colored. And I don't mean like a rainbow. It was thin strips of just all different color energies just flying around the room.
Wow.
So the shield goes down, incoming energy, total distortion, I can't even concentrate, wobbling.
Sure, too much information.
I look like I'm silly when I do this, but you could pretty much, if you just watched, you'd paint the picture. Because I talk out loud sometimes, and I can't tell if I'm here or there, and I ask questions. And sometimes I'll ask a question, think I asked out loud, and other people in the room answer me, which is weird.
Right.
So he says, turn your hand back over. And it took everything in my power to just flip my hand over. And boom, the bubble came up. Complete clarity. Complete clarity.
Really?
I watched my, what finger is this, a ring finger?
No, that's your...
That's just, yeah.
Oh, no, that's
your ring finger, right?
So
on my right hand, the finger either grew or something from the ground came up and attached to it, like a control, like a little squiggly thing. And I felt it. Yeah, I looked at it. I said, whoa, when did that happen? But my hand was controlling something now. It was attached to this, it looked like a ball, and it was just rotating. And I noticed, wow, look at that. I noticed that the image in front of me was moving on the other side of the bubble, almost like it was a movie, and I could fast forward it and rewind it a little bit. But I could only go so little, and that's it. Then there was total exhaustion, and I'd just go, oh, I can't handle this. I put my hands down like against me. Then it was everything. The bubble would crash. Incoming energy come in.
Why was
I'd wobble?
Was it too much energy for you?
I couldn't. Yeah, I don't even know what this is. I like connecting to it and holding that space. Like it didn't hurt. It went to exhaustion from in like a few seconds, 6 seconds. So it was like, I got it. I can't handle it. I'm going unconscious. And then he'd lift my head back as before I'd fall, sit me back up, and it would activate. They would take control of my hands, and it would activate again. And I go, oh, I'm back. Now he's like, look over to your left. I look over to my left, and in my hand was a layered birthday cake, right? And it was going up. So it was a big fat layer, and it looked like a staircase going around, going up to a next layer, going up to the next layer, and it got smaller and smaller. And at the top was a ball of light. And I kept saying, is that source? Is that a source ball? Because I always say that, the ball of light, is that source? And I saw people walking right out in my left side, up into the staircase around. There wasn't a lot of people. It kind of was like two, then maybe three, and then they'd stop and look around, and then they start again and go up the stairs. It was like almost everybody was getting their chance to have the space in front of them and behind them, so it wasn't crowded.
Really?
But it wasn't everyone. See, this is why I got really sad. I was going, why isn't everybody over here? Like, why is there only like handfuls of people? And they're like, well, only a handful of you are doing it. So I'm only showing you the
Waking
handful.
up.
Do you want to see everyone? And I was like, yeah. And then they showed a mass of people in front of me. And I said, wow, that's a lot of people. And they were coming up this ramp and just a few of them were jumping on this. Others were just randomly walking around out there, not having a clue. And I'm like, oh, that sucks for them. And they're like, well, it's not for everyone.
No, it's not for everyone. So
I was going, well, what is this? Because this birthday cake is really cool looking. Like they were like, it's not a birthday cake. They were like, it's layers. And the bottom layer has a base to it. Think of that as the descent to the bottom, and then you built that base from being there over and over and over again, building out, I guess, your spiritual nature.
Right.
And that's your base layer. And then you're allowed to come up around the staircase onto the next layer. Is that the commercial again?
Yeah, we're gonna lose everyone.
That's all right. We're not losing anyone. We're coming right back after the commercial break because we're your protection from deception, and I got to basically walk you through this up into the light. And when you come back, I'm going to teach you how to do it. Each and every one of you. I love you.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. It's a dream. A fantasy of where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
Alright, I just want to blast back off. I can't even wait. I'm just like super excited. You guys posted something in the chat room. It looked like, I guess it's the planets and the spins and rotations. Staring down at that, it would look like just rings and circles. The wedding cake thing that I was looking at had rings like that, and then when I pulled up alongside of it, it was like a tower. Right. So with the different layers and levels, it was just weird. It's like an as above, so below. And I was saying, imagine the giant clock face from all the way out here as the observer, all the way out in outer space. It might just look like rings spinning, and then you move into a different position, and it opens up, and it becomes like a horizontal thing, and you're like, wow, this is a tower that looks like this, and these things are spinning around that thing. So it's just pretty interesting of how above, so below. So my fearless partner this day and I are going through similar things, similar learning things. I'm gonna have each one of them on. I say it all the time, but what I'm trying to do is set it up to where I tell the story and then try to get them in the next week. So I'm gonna work on getting people in here. It's just I have so much I want to say, and then it just opens this up, and we only got an hour, but I'll get them all in. So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at this cake, and I'm thinking, this is amazing. And they're like, do you want to see where you are on this cake? They said cake like I did. And then I was like, yeah. And then they were like, ladder, ascension.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, you are the fallen angel. I was like, me? I'm not the fallen angel. What are you, nuts? I'm not one of them. And they're like, no. You are all the fallen angels. Right. The story's corrupted. Here's how it works. Use ascended from source, descended all the way down. Now you're coming all the way back up, ascending all the way back up. This is where you are on there. And we were like, I was specifically 3/4 up on it. And I was like, wow, that's
pretty high up there. They're like, look at the information you're learning in the last few years. Now reflect quickly on what you know and what you're catching up to. Now, up the center of this wedding cake, right, was the DNA strands. They were like little bubbles doing the maneuvers that the DNA does all the way straight up to the top. And I noticed that. And I said, wow, would you look at that? And as I went to take a look back to my other side, because I could feel the wiggle in my finger, the thing that was attached, I looked over and fainted. I could not hold it. Right. So I just fainted. Boom.
Literally fainted?
Literally fainted. Like I blacked out. I don't remember what happened. Like I took a breath like, oh, and it just went. I felt a hand on my face, lifted me right back up. I felt like I was hanging over on my knees, kind of like slumped over, and my head went up, and I took a deep breath. I was like, what happened? They're like, hang on. My body straightened up, almost like they were just filling me with air or something into that position. Boom. And I was like, oh, my hands flipped back over. Boom.
Wow.
They're like, get back to work. And I'm like, oh. Now.
Well, sure, they had things to show you.
They
didn't have time for that.
I love that they do that, though. Like, I don't like to be touched when by other beings. But, like, if I have a teacher and he smacks me in the head and goes, hey, wake up, I don't mind it at all.
Right.
I like to be hands-on. So if we're learning something, you know, I have to be there going, what's this? And if I go too far, I need someone to go, yo, back off and shut up. I need that. So when they do that and they're like, no time for silliness, boy, you know, you're playing the fool.
Right.
Okay. So I notice as I set back up, it looked like a different kind of DNA, but like a code was coming up in front of me. And then I noticed that Isis, like her image was behind it, and it was coming up like a kind of like a snake or just an ascending image of the little, you know, those little spheres spinning, going up into the ascending motions, right? Like a corkscrew going up. And I'm like, oh, Isis is here. This is fantastic. And I look right over to where my hand, the little thing was grown out of my hand, and I saw another one come up, and I knew it was male instead of female. Mm-hmm. It was a different, like, hers was blue. This was like it was like a beige color, almost like when you have stone and then you scrape something into the stone, like, you know, but not the white chalk, like a darker color of it in there. And I'm like, oh, like it gave a shade to it. And I'm like, who is that? I go, is that me? And then Horus, boom, just shows up. And I go, oh, you're both here. Holy moly. They're smiling at me. So I'm like, hey, it's weird enough that you have a bird's face and can smile at me. Weird. And he said, I'm going to say this again to you. I'm you. You're me. I said, oh, fantastic. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Thank God that you're here. Did you know what you can do inside this thing? And that's when they laugh at you. Like, of course we know, but you need to know. Right. Do you know? And I'm like, yes, look. And I look over the robed figure guy. I can feel the do it. You have to do this. So I look at my hand. I look at the other one, and I start wiggling it, and the entire scene around the bubble completely moves. Literally, anywhere you want to go, let's go right now. And I go, are we going there or just viewing it? Am I twisting time and bending time, space, or am I just rewinding a movie? Like, I can't tell from this angle because it's all outside the bubble, and I'm viewing it like it's on a screen. And I'm going, wait a second. Like, I'm from there. I'm from there. Look at me there. Look, I was a little kid there. That's right. And then I'm like, wait a second. I'm going through time. And they said, well, you could do anything you want. You got to be protected. And I go, I'm still holding this. I can hold this now. And I started getting weak.
Like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange like me. Remember that.
Okay.
Remember all I said at first. So I'm holding this up. And I'm saying to myself,
I don't care.
I'm saying to myself, I don't know how much longer I can do this because I'm getting pretty weak now, pretty fast. And they go, every time you do it, you'll go every single time you do it after you do it the first time,
I'm getting chills, and I've heard this story.
Gets
I'm getting chills.
faster and faster, and you'll hold it for longer and longer and
Wild.
longer. So I'm like, okay, great. So a star map opens in the room. Inside the star map, I don't know. I felt like I was in a room viewing this. It was really, really awkward. I saw portals blinking in and out, and it looked like I was in a giant ship's hangar. And I had Horus on one side of me with Isis telling me, and they were in the bubble with me, which is really weird, to like look around. And then I'd see the portals, and I'm going, hey, they're just blinking in and out. What are they doing? And they're like, check it out. See those right there? And then boop, one would open and just sit there. Fine, no problem. But all over the background, I see blinks and things going on. I go, are we in like an area where you can access these things? And they're like, well, you could access them. They're everywhere.
Right.
It's just, do you know where that goes? Do you know how long, like there's natural ones, there's unnatural ones. They're used for, that's me. They're used for transport. They're used to bring materials back and forth. They're used for, beings to fly in and out of and go different places, just like, a cartoon character. You can do all that stuff. But some don't stay open. And then I was watching them just blink, close, blink, close, blink, close. I was watching things try to time themselves in and out. Some things failed and they were dead. They were just done. Like, you did it wrong. Bye. So I had this feeling I was actually viewing an entire monstrous area, not just like one little section of portals popping up. It was like a map of them going off. It was being there like in the danger room where you could just have any view you want. And they were showing me like, no, look, you need to understand these are there all the time and you can access these. And I'm like, so we are there. And they go, yeah, we are there. So I start explaining to my fearless friend across the room, because we're wide awake discussing everything. And I'm like, there's these portals that open up and they do this and that. And it's like we're both seeing it. I'm explaining in detail what's happening in the room. We're having this conversation. And I'm now 2 hours in and I'm going to myself, this is so intense, but I can't believe I'm wide awake talking. And I look over in the chair that I put by the door, and there's a girl sitting in the chair. And I'm like, what? So I stop talking and I look over. I acknowledge that there's a girl sitting in. I go, there's a girl sitting in the chair.
And you saw her,
and then I start
as if she were really,
as if she was dead sitting there. And I'll give you the description in a second. But first, I thought to myself, I'm going back to my conversation. She could wait. That's my first thought. Like, you're interrupting me. But she didn't say nothing. She was just sitting there. But it took me by surprise. I was like, whoa, I just looked at you. Everything just stopped. Everything's changing now. There's no ball. There's no Horus. There's no Isis. Everything's done. There's no star map. And there's a girl sitting there. So I go back to trying to talk about the map and the stars and what I was just trying to make a point. And then it was like a hand grabbed my face and said, you're going to acknowledge me right now. And I was like, what? My face turned and I said, yo, fearless partner. That girl that they were talking about yesterday, sitting in the chair at the door right now. So I have this telepathic conversation with her, right? I look at her and I go, and I'm going to explain. Are you a unicorn? First of all, she was gorgeous. She was white, and white, which was weird, like all shades of white. Her outfit was white. She was wearing white, but her hair was pastels, long, flowing, different colored pastels. And she had what I thought was a unicorn horn. This is what I'm going to show Paul right now. I have a little 4-inch black wand, putting it over my black eye. My third eye, not my black eye. No, it's a black stone I'm putting over my third eye. Sorry, guys. All right, so look. It was like that. So I go, are you a unicorn? And she goes, no, that's my third eye. That's what it looks like it from here. This is what it is. And I said, that's beautiful, but you look like a unicorn. And I saw this. It looked like it was like almost like this, piercing in.
Out.
Right? So I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And she had this. It looked like a fan, like a Chinese fan, but not Chinese. Like, it was bigger, actually, very big, like a 4-foot fan that you could open, right? But she was sweeping with it downward like this. So I'm like, well, what are you doing? And she's like, well, this is what I do. And I go, I can see that the energy from you is hitting my friend. What are you doing? And she's like, I'm protection. She took the fan and goes, "Excuse me," and on the floor. And I go, "What are you doing? What are you waving on the floor?" I would figure you'd fan yourself.
Right.
And I look down, and I kid you not, there were snakes everywhere. Like, so many snakes, it would have made Indiana Jones have a friggin' heart attack on the spot, that I was like, oh my God, like, get off the floor. Like, I got to get off the floor. But I didn't move because when that fan went, they were coming at me and my friend, right? And I go, oh, like, and you would have got 2 seconds to move if you're lucky to jump on a piece of furniture.
Right.
I was on my knees on the floor, passing out, doing my thing. And she waved it, and they dispersed around us. And I was like, wow. And she's like, look, watch this. And then she got up, she spun around, her hair looked like at the carnival, those strands when the kids are running around the pole and each one has a different color and they're like, la, la, la,
Oh,
la,
yeah,
la.
yeah.
That's what it came up and looked like that, like it was spinning around her. And I'm like, this is so outrageous. Like the pastels was what got me. It's just a weird blending of colors that looks so beautiful, but you couldn't actually picture this on someone. Like like you draw characters like this in comics or in a kid's book, but it was real, sitting in the room on the page. It was explained like, it's not a physical body, it's a spiritual body. You're seeing with your third eye. You're not seeing with your normal 2 eyes. That's why all the colors are popping off. And what she was doing was keeping us completely safe. And I thought that was really, really, really awesome of her. So I had to explain, because the day before, when someone sees something like this and doesn't want to tell their friend, like, hey, look, there's something over here, that means they're a little nervous. They don't want to overstep, and they don't want to say the wrong thing, because anything that you say can mess up somebody else's experience. So I start sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what's the importance of her just walking around, and why are there this many snakes? Like, it's got to be more than just protections. And she's waving her little thing and doing her little thing, and the snakes
keeping them away.
And I'm on my knees, and I'm like, oh, you're just helping. And flush, I feel in the back of my head to the front of my face, tears, crying. Here it comes. I go, what the hell is happening to me? And she's like, don't worry, it'll be okay. I start crying. I just lay on the floor. I start crying. I go, oh man, I messed up really bad, really, really bad. And she's like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. The robe guy came back. He's like, what's the matter? And I remember looking up at my buddy going, yeah, I remember all my contracts. I remembered the soul contracts. They just gave me my, like, hey, this is what you did and this is what you didn't do up to this point. And I freaked out. I started just bawling. One of the hardest parts about this, this is really hard to talk about. My nephew and I are very close. We have a really crazy relationship. We're like a superhero team. I saw me and him on the other side, right? And I'm like watching the two of us, and I go, oh, look who it is. It's my little buddy, right? And he wasn't little. He was just like normal person size, I guess. And I go, what's going on? And then I flip into me, and he goes, I'm going to do it. I'm going in there. And I'm like, come on. You ain't going in there. I'll go in first. I can't let you go in. So I go in first. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Go in. Go in where? I'm just looking. There's nothing there. It's just an empty space.
Right.
And then, boom, I was standing on the other side, wherever I was just looking at. I was in this room, and I was freaking out. I had this rush of emotions that I've never felt, feelings, and I was so frightened. So then I'm just standing in the room, and I'm like, I'm so alone. Does anyone hear me? And I look over, and growing in the middle of the room is this mushroom. And I look at it, and it has his eyes on the head cap, right? And it's starting to, it's a giant mushroom. It turns into like a 3-foot mushroom, and it looks like him though, like it's shaping into him. So the arms come out before the head's fully, it's still mushroom headed on him, and he's like, "Look, it's me!" And he reaches out for me. Yeah, I slap his hands away, and I go, "Don't touch me, no!" And I held myself in the corner. And while he was growing, he was without me. This is what they were explaining. They're like, "See what he's doing? That's lifetimes that he's growing,
Lifetime.
and then he's in there." And now it's my nephew, and he's just sitting there. He changed from the mushroom into him, and he looked at me, and he's like, "All right, guess we're going to do it again." And then I ran over to him, and I grabbed him. I was like, "No," I was holding his hand. I was like, don't you go again. Don't you? And he grabbed me and hugged me. He's like, "It'll be okay." And he was rubbing my face. And I go, "I'm so sorry, buddy. I did not know." And I was getting these downloads of lifetimes of not being there for people over and over. But this one was specific. This was the one. I have my personal beliefs on why it was him.
You can't beat yourself up about that.
No, I don't. His hugging me hugged me out of it. It changed the whole thing. I was like, "Oh, you love me. Oh my God, we're back." But it was, "You're on this side now. We're here. Now what?" Not, "See you around, buddy." It can't be that no more. Now it's, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh my God, the connection is back. It's so strong. I understand why we're here." And so it started getting a little bit crazier. Then he says to me, "We made it into the reality." And I said, you understand, don't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, I understand. I forgive you too." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry." Like, it popped up in different times where I could see his track that he was on for his lifetimes. And every time there was like a yellow dot, that was where I was supposed to act or be or react or help or do something. And they were like, "Look, those are all the times you're supposed to do it." And I'm like, "Well, how many times did I do it?" And then it was random. And I was like, "Oh no." And there was a whole bunch more that I screwed up on, but they were explaining to me, "This has got to go. This has got to stop right here. You're here. You know, you got him.
Right. You know better now.
You're rubbing
here.
the arms.
Yes.
You're okay. You got your hand. You're
Now
holding
make
his
it
hand."
right. Make it better.
So I start going, "Okay, I want this. I want to make it right. All of it though. Like, how do I fulfill my contracts and get things done?" They're like, "You've been filtering them, going through them each time you've been here. Each person you work with, each person you reach out to and talk to, and these are rebuilding old bridges,
Right.
rekindling old fires,
Right.
of lifetimes and whatever. And these little reach outs are connecting the dots for them, paying off contract debts, karmic
For
debts,
them as well.
for all of us, like, for involved." And I don't have, like, I don't do it so because I have to. Like, I legitimately want to help everyone.
Right.
I'm the one on the other side going, "You can't leave not one behind." And they're like, "It's not for everyone."
Now, the funny thing is, while you were experiencing this, I was feeling guilty. I was feeling like I wasn't there for certain people. I was experiencing the same thing, and I wasn't even near you when this was happening to you.
Right. Well, what's happening is, this is what I realized. This is our space.
It is.
Anything that goes on here, there's like connected lines between us, the invisible lines that connect us.
Absolutely, without question.
Specifically, when anything happens to me, we've talked about the blue sphere that has tuned us into each other many times. It came down during one of the experiences over the bed and shoved the rod in between our heads,
yes,
like the
that.
tubes,
That
and then
scary.
was electrifying us with information. And I was like, "Tune her into me then. Like, help her. I could see you. I'm fine with
this. But I really am tuned in. It's so strange. It's really strange.
Well, it's been more and more. We did
Yeah.
it a couple of times tonight before the show. We keep proving over and over again. We're finishing sentences and doing things for each other without the other one even having a clue. It's like the thought is in the head, like, "Oh, I'd like a cup of coffee," and the coffee's done.
Oh, and you made
you're
delicious coffee, by the way.
Thank you so much. I mean, people would see this as small little coincidences, but
they're really
know
not.
if you're in a relationship or if you're close with somebody or whatever, and this starts going on a lot, you start laughing about it. That's a good way to do it. Laugh about it.
But it happens with our other friends, part of our team. There's one in particular. He and I are always on the same page.
Well, that's because you are both the ground wires.
We said the same thing. He said something, and then I came in maybe 6 hours after the fact, and I said exactly the same thing, which I find very strange.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But wonderful,
So I find myself in a position of crying. I got hugged by my nephew. I'm like, all right, sorry, guys. It looks like I'm doing it, but I can only do it in pieces. Time is time. We need more of it, and this is going to happen. They're like, relax. Hold on. They're like, you have a choice to make right now. And I said, what's that? And I started coming out of it again.
Right.
Like, stopped crying. I sat up. And my partner says, you know what? I'm going back in again. I think I need to go back in.
Brave.
So I got a cup, put it down. My partner took the cup, shot it down, the whole thing. I think it was half a cup. And then I was like, do I want to drink? I don't know. So I go back to the bottle. There's no more. And I go, okay, there's no more. What else can I do? And I decide at the height of this part of it, because I was like 3 hours in at this point, I was going to smoke DMT.
Right.
So I came back into the room and I sat down. My partner went unconscious. And they said, if you do this, it's going to literally change everything. 100% change everything right now. And I said, and I was in a good head. I was like, oh, I stopped crying. This is good. This is good. I'm doing it. I went in 3 hits deep. I hit the floor like someone threw, like Green Lantern's ring, threw a punch at me and pinned me to the floor. I laid on I even said I hit my head. Like it didn't hit it that hard, but I missed the pillow. I was like, dunk. Oh. I look up. I take a deep breath. The room turns purple, like in blue. And a blue ambiotic sack comes out of the ceiling and wraps around my body. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Oh my. And right before it kind of seals itself, the hooded being sits on top of me. He looks me in the eyes and he says,
say what you thought it was.
Wait. So he says, this is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So what do you want to say anything before it starts? And for some strange reason, I said, no more dark. And this thing got zipped and closed over my face. I was in a sack underwater in this. I was in a uterus, a universal uterus of some kind. I could see above me the hole into like the portal to somewhere else. And I could see that I was sitting in some kind of container and it was like gooey and stuff. Like I could feel the liquid around me and it got tight, but I felt secure. So I wasn't choking and freaking out like I would. Like I go in an MRI machine. I try to rip out like I'm the Hulk. I was very content, right. But I was going, I was cursing. I was going, what's happening to me? What the, what's going on?
I would do the same thing.
So I'm laying on my side and they show me from 2 angles. You're really laying on the floor. Relax. So I go, okay. And then on the next layer is me in this sack and the being's like pushing me through towards this hole. And then it just pushes me out of the hole. And then I land on the floor and the being just cuts the sack open. And I'm laying there and I'm covered in this black and purple skin. And I was born again that night, reborn again for the 3rd time. We're going to have to talk more about it next week. I'm sorry. I did it again. Your protection from deception.